Hello, welcome back to Dragon Quest IV. This time it's Elena and the Journey to the Tourney.
Alright, I recognized exactly one of those three characters through osmosis.
Yes, osmosis, that's what we'll call it. Also, a quick word check. Elena is a Tsarevna, not a Sarvina. I read that as Sarvina like my entire first playthrough. Also, it would appear Elena wishes to take place in a tournament and is not allowed to. Extinct Mother.
I thought I misread that for a moment.
No, that's just how they translate Russian dialect. I didn't want to call it an accent because it's not just
Yeah, that's
like
just a weird word to use.
it's they're trying to capture the idea of like Russian is first language, English is second language. You'll have different little like quirks and characteristics. Anyways, here's Kirill. I was too distracted by the phrase extinct mother, but that was Borya earlier.
I mean, if you think about it, everybody who dies does go extinct. There's only one of you. Which means we're also always endangered as well.
Anyways, we've been confined to our room, so I guess we're just gonna go stay in our room for this chapter.
Alright, gonna be a pretty simple one. I'll just take my medicinal herb and just smoke that in bed. With my fancy hat.
Gonna put that on immediately before I forget.
This is my herb hat. For herbs.
Alright, so Ragnar didn't really have to deal with this, but with chapter 2, we were starting to get more Dragon Quest bullshit. The first one, welcome to Event Flags. You have to talk to everyone in the castle, and I don't know what, like, everyone means.
Well, I mean, everyone's kinda everyone. I mean, I usually do this
Like, you'd
anyway,
think.
so no big deal. Speedrunners, however, sorry about that.
Like, you think you would just be talk to Borya and Kirill. But no, you have to talk to everyone. Prepare the edibles. Well, we have the medicinal herb.
And we've got another one, perfect. Look, I've got my hat on for this. I'm so ready to definitely stay in bed and not leave the castle. Also, I see that it is just a worldwide defense mechanism to have a locked door and pane floors for your treasure chamber.
Yeah,
It's just standard practice.
I mean, in a world where you can make pain floors, why wouldn't you?
Fair point. I'm guessing the holy water is
Faith
probably
and
for
prayer.
MP, right?
I think the holy water is actually repel.
Ah, okay. Either way, it's not something we had to deal with in
Anyways.
Chapter 1.
Kirill here is a priest, and we just read a theological text, and in that text was a hand-drawn picture of Elena.
Aw.
So do with that information what you will.
I choose to believe it's just like a
Alright,
little stick figure.
Alright, Repairman's gone.
Alright, easily kicked down, you say. I shall do
Break
so.
the wall down.
And... to oblivion!
Yeah, unfortunately, we're stuck in Morrowind.
I feel like most people would prefer that.
I don't know. I feel like Oblivion's the most popular Elder Scrolls game.
I always thought it was Morrowind. Though Oblivion might just have a lot of name recognition, too. Alright, we see you're breaking out. Let's go, too. I'm here, too.
I'm also alongside. Alright, so new for Chapter 2, we get a proper party. It's not like Healy, where they're just on AI commands. You get to control everyone in this group. So, these three characters line up pretty well with Dragon Quest III classes. Also, I'm going to be doing a lot of party chat, and I'll draw attention if I think there are any particular lines, but otherwise, I'll be doing party chat. So Elena, like Ragnar, is a... Let me try that again. Elena is a monk, which, like Ragnar, is an attacking class. Kirill is obviously a priest, or is obviously a wizard. What differentiates martial artists from warriors is that they need less equipment. You can just put a cheap robe on them because they can't equip armor, and they'll just punch with their fists because the weapons they use are usually just fist things, which are cheaper than swords and axes. So they have like a higher floor, lower ceiling situation.
Yeah.
And they are less expensive to run.
So that is very familiar if you've played Final Fantasy then.
There's so much I have to get through. Borya is a wizard. Wizards are pretty bog standard. I think Borya is like weirdly fast for a wizard. But other than that, if you have played a game with an attack mage in it, then you know what Borya is going to do. The only thing that might catch you off guard is the number of support spells, but it's like puts enemy to sleep, dazzles enemy, things like that. Kirill is a priest, and priests in Dragon Quest are interesting because if you're only familiar with white mages, you might think, oh, so he's only good for healing, right? No, priests are like jack of all trades to an extent. They can wield stronger weapons and better armor.
Huh.
So, Elena is going to be your main attacker. If Kirill is not healing, he will be attacking for noticeable damage. If Borya runs out of MP, he is completely useless in this chapter.
Sucks for him. So yeah, I always assumed that Elena was the, like, mage-type character from design. I don't know, just something about her. Yeah, I think it's the hat.
She has a witch hat, but she's not a witch.
Yeah, she's got the hat, she's got a cape. But no, cool to know that she is the punch character.
Standard combat art of misdirection.
I think she's gonna throw a fireball, but no, she throws hands instead. I no longer have a jaw.
I think this is the point where I was going to go over what all these things do, but because I stopped at a church in the first chapter, I just went over it all then. But here's divination. This is how you know how many experience points you're away from something, or away from a level up. It's super not useful since you have to go all the way to a church to see it.
Yeah, like
It kind of removes the reason to check.
Yeah, like you can check if you're just in town, but like if you're in the middle of grinding, you're not gonna come back here to be like, am I like 5 points away from a level up? They'll just keep going.
Yeah, you'll base your grinding around the levels. So you'll just know, like, at the next level up, I'm gonna try the boss again or whatever. Joseph Starling, fuck off. Yeah, he has reputation.
Yeah, people know him. For what? We won't tell. Yeah, so what's that guy do? We don't talk about it.
I think the town names in Elena's country are more Ukrainian than Russian. I might be misremembering that.
Mm-hmm.
Glance over things here. Now, Ragnar was fairly expensive to equip, but he was only one guy. Our characters here are less expensive to equip, but there's 3 of them.
There's 3 whole guys.
But the trick here that they're trying to teach you is that they all have, for this chapter, they will all have the same equip list, more or less, except for weapons.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get a better hat for Elena, her hat's going on Borya. Or, no, wait, her hat's going on Kirill. And then when you get another one, hat goes on Elena, new hat goes, or old hat goes on Kirill, old hat goes on Borya.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just cycle them out. It's all hand-me-downs.
Yes, that's what they expect you to do in Dragon Quest. You're not supposed to grind until you can get the best equipment for every character. That's how madmen play this game.
I do really like how they've been, doing this so far, though. I really like the pacing.
Yeah, this is a very good beginner. Not just beginner Dragon Quest, but beginner JRPG, I would say. Anyways, I should draw attention to our first palette swap. These are she slimes. If you wondered why all the orange slimes were ladies and rocket slime, this is why.
Okay. Are she slimes sold by the seashore? I'm not going to try to say that. Oh my god! Well, yeah, I guess they would block the way, huh?
So you eventually get spells that would make this fight possible? We don't have them yet. So we're going to leave.
We are going to beat you to death.
Also, I do like this. Whenever a character dies, you just drag their coffin around.
We just have to drag it back like it's fucking Solar Boy Django.
Anyways. We're gonna sprinkle the holy water because we can't afford to having more encounters. Fuck! Oh no. One of the mischievous moles followed us and he brought his worm.
Oh, we got these guys running scared, Wiggly. Got him running. Ain't getting by this. Hey, maybe we should aim for the old man. Ah, goddammit.
Also, the party chat earlier, Borya is just doing like, rah rah, come on, I'll fuck y'all up. He's not acknowledge Kirill's death at all. I probably didn't have to run away here. Well.
Alright, well, let's just carry both of their coffins on my shoulders.
Elena can do it. So, you might remember, back in Ragnar's chapter, I said that you don't have to grind in this chapter, you can just go from place to place, and as long as you bring enough herbs, you're fine. You have to grind in this chapter. This is the second level of fuck you that Dragon Quest brings. Now, most like supplementary materials for Dragon Quest will encourage more grinding than is really necessary. I think part of that is that, you know, if you're following a guide, you want to be sure you're going to win. So they're going to tell you to go to a level that's maybe a little excessive for this area, but will give you a much better chance of defeating the boss or whatever. But once you realize that those suggested levels are fake, it leads to the opposite problem where you're like, yeah, I can make it across this area without doing any grinding, and then 7 moles show up and kill you. Oh god, oh god.
Well, it's only 5 moles this time. Surely we can take them down.
Borya has 2 casts of his ice attack.
Not nearly enough to kill anything that moves.
But 1 ice attack will kill them, and then Kirill and Elena can team up to kill another one in 1 round. So this is much more manageable than it seems, although due to damage variance we didn't actually kill that mole like I was expecting to.
Well, we're only level 1, that'll be fixed in due time.
Yeah, it's kind of wild to still be at level 1 15 minutes into the video. You don't spend a whole lot of time at level 1 in most JRPGs.
Yeah, you really don't. And we're past chapter 1, so it's extra wild.
Alright, 4 HP. Good stat spread. Kirill gets MP. We actually haven't had to worry about MP before this. Well, there was Healy.
Yeah, but, you know, he just kind of does his own thing.
So you might have noticed Borya's MP growth is already absurd compared to Kirill's, but his HP growth is minimal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's Borya going forward. I'm pretty sure he has the lowest HP and the highest MP of every player character in this game.
Not a very strong bag of blood, but so much magic in there.
Now, another thing about grinding in the Dragon Quest series is that you're not just grinding experience, you also have to worry about your gold.
Mm-hmm.
So, while the level ups are obviously an important part of increasing your, combat effectiveness, don't underestimate how important equipment is.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what I'm aiming for, but I did want to include at least one grind session on camera because it's not an authentic Dragon Quest experience if I don't make you realize how bad it gets. I will say in the manual for the NES version, to explain why Borya is level 1 like everyone else and, leveling up at the rate of everyone else, they explain that as the court mage, he's not have to do any combat in a very long time. So he's not learning new things, he's remembering old things.
Nice. That's cute. I like that.
Yeah, but they weren't as clever as Final Fantasy IV, which just put that shit in the game
Mm-hmm.
and didn't make me read the goddamn manual to learn it.
Fair. So you mentioned earlier, since we're grinding, I mentioned earlier that, this is just a good beginner RPG in general, and I can absolutely see that. This is absolutely, so far, seeming just the really kind of origin of a lot of RPGs, just the feeling in general. It's the platonic JRPG. And also,
Yeah.
I absolutely don't mean this as an insult, but also very much the same feeling as I get from, RPG Maker type games. This is just so public knowledge that this is kind of the feeling a lot of people want to capture if they're doing their own thing, without, if they just want to make a JRPG.
Yeah. I would say this more so than the earlier Dragon Quest games feels like the origin point for a lot of JRPG stuff.
Yeah, because
Anyways, just to draw attention to it, Elena is leveling up slightly faster than everyone else.
because she's very strong and cool.
Yes, and each character has different rates at which they level up. It's not the same experience point amount that triggers a level up for each character. Anyways, what else were you going to say?
I was gonna say, yeah, original Dragon Quest is just you solo. So, it... Obviously, if you look at
It's
it,
weird.
and you look at the rest of the Dragon Quest, you're like, okay, yeah, I can see that, but, no, yeah, just the way party members exist in this gameplay, and the way you interact with this world absolutely feels very, very just platonic JRPG. And maybe Dragon Quest 2 and 3 feel like that as well. I don't know much about them.
So, 2 was one of the first JRPGs to have party members, if not the first. So, it's weird in its own right. They knew what your hero should do, they knew what the princess, the white mage, should do, and then they had a third character, and he's never had a moveset that made sense. He's always just kind of fallen by the wayside. Anyways, we are upgrading Kirill to a sword. We gave the priest a sword.
Alright, time to do some murders.
I didn't draw attention to the fact that he had a club earlier.
I'm gonna beat these guys to death.
Yeah, beating people with a huge ass Oaken Club, which we've now given to Elena. So, no more martial arts. Now she's just beating people to death with a big-ass stick.
I mean, that's a kind of a martial art as well.
Yeah, the first 3 Dragon Quests at times feel more like adventure games with a JRPG battle system than JRPGs. There's a lot of, like, bring the key item to this place, figure out guess what I'm thinking, figure out what item goes where. Anyways, with our new equipment, we're going to be a little bit braver. The various terrain on the world map isn't just for show, they'll have different enemy spawns. The hills are where the massive mole encounter spawn. Which is why we're staying away from them for the time being.
The hills have eyes, and by eyes, I mean eyes belonging to many, many moles. Also, I know that there are other mountain ranges, but I would absolutely look at the hills and be like, I can't pass these for a while.
Yeah, I could see that being a problem. Thankfully, there's literally nowhere else for you to go.
Yeah, so it'd be relatively easy to tell. Can figure out which mountains are meant to prevent the player characters from encountering one another too early. That's only 4 moles, that's not so bad.
Yeah, we dealt with 5 moles earlier, so this ought to be fine. Also, my brain's just going like, don't make a David Jaffe joke, don't make a David Jaffe joke. It's been too long, people aren't going to remember the room in Metroid Dread anymore. Anyways, yeah, now we're dealing with these moles at a rate where even if 7 did pop up, we'd be fine.
Oh, hello.
Oh god, it's a wolf, it's a foo dog.
That's not anything to fuck with. Alright, well, that didn't seem too bad. I assume he would rip you apart if you were still level 1.
Probably. Did you notice that Borya's ice spell did like twice the damage
Yeah.
as everyone else's attacks?
So I will say, did the original NES game have, like, an overworld map? I know it wouldn't have had the top screen map, but I'm wondering how much...
If it did, it would have been in the manual.
Yeah, because I'm just thinking, it's actually kind of cool that they kind of just show you ahead of time, like, here's where you are in the world, that this is just the whole thing. Like, yeah, I can see where Chapter 1 takes place.
Yeah, it's interesting to just be able to see the continents and how they're separated. Which is kind of funny because the world map was kind of a big deal in the first 3 Dragon Quest games. Because in Dragon Quest 1, you're on the one continent the entire time. Dragon Quest 2 is the same world map, but there are suddenly other continents. Anyways, another level up for Elena, so she has gone from, like, struggling to survive to easily clearing house.
Yeah, I think...
Also, Dragon Quest 3 has a reveal with a world map that I won't spoil.
Yeah, I think most games that aren't Dragon Quest would probably start Elena off at, like, level 4 or something. Just start you with the ability to do this shit. Though, in fairness, she was taking no damage at, like, level 1. So all she needs is a hat to start being okay.
Yeah, she's fine until you hit the hills, and you're not going to level up before you hit the hills. Waiting to see if we get any new spells that I can talk about. Nope.
Just money.
The opening notes of this song are going to drive me insane. I've heard that so many times.
Da 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 da. Also, if we have time, quick question. What's more confusing, Atlas magic naming terminology or Dragon Quest naming terminology? For magic, if I didn't say that.
Yeah, Atlas is... Like, it could be a little weird to approach as a English speaker. Like, what the fuck is Augie? I don't know how I've actually managed to memorize the stat boosting spells, because those are complete bullshit. Dragon Quest names have always... The English names have always just been dumb.
Yeah.
So now they're just given, like, weird... Like, a lot of them still feel like they're working with character restrictions. Anyways, so we're joking and joshing about magic names while the NPCs are telling us how they've been sacrificing children to the monsters.
Hmm.
Specifically daughters. Hey, remember Oolong from Dragon Ball? What if it wasn't funny?
What if Oolong was fucked up and evil, and not just kind
Also,
of a
I'm
weird
sorry,
guy?
it's gonna remind me of Dragon Ball because of the artist.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, we found our first. That's a Dragon Ball character. Elena is just Redhead Bulma.
Mm-hmm.
It's very noticeable in like the NES artwork. Oh, wait, we've not seen mini medals yet. These are introduced in Dragon Quest III. If you collect enough of them, you can eventually trade them in at a location for special equipment. Absolute's meanest one is Dragon Quest VII, because you don't find that location until like 3/4 of the way through the game, and it's scaled for that. So like the first item takes 70 mini medals.
Oh, jeez. This is stupid. Let's just kill the monsters.
So the monsters are demanding young women from this village. Well, it just so happens we have a young woman in this party who is good at beating things to death with her fists.
Alright, perfect
Like,
plan.
this is... So, you and I have consumed a lot of Japanese media, some of which is aimed at children. It's not at all strange to encounter something that has a weird tonal dissonance, I would call it. It is so strange that, like, we're going to a place where, like, teenagers and children have died in vain attempts to keep this village safe, and the people doing it are going to be beaten by, like, level 4 players.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is to just disguise our player character as a helpless girl and then reveal, oh wait, I can kill things with my fists.
Oh no, I'm here, unarmed. Just kidding, I have these guns.
Like, some Dragon Quests are better at telling their tragic and sad stories. 5 and 7 come to mind, where, like, when something sad happens, they really draw attention to it and it feels a lot more intentional than this, which it's fucking giving Fist of the North Star. It's like, why is it this bleak?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is...
Why does everything have to suck?
This is a huge escalation after Chapter 1, where it's just like, okay, well, some children are being kidnapped, but don't worry, you'll put on those same shoes and jump all the way to the tower and save them with your good pal Healy. And then Chapter 2,
Like,
alright, the villagers have been sacrificing their children.
like we're too late for this. Like, I guess it's ambiguous how many kids went missing compared to how many we saved, but they always phrase it as like, we saved everyone.
Yeah, it never really seemed like anybody died in that.
Alright, now please enter the box.
I mean, I hope these guys also safely carry us. They're gonna be the ones doing the work.
Another fun thing about this being a DS remake of an NES game, some of the stuff being 3D objects is always kind of jarring.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways. We're left here at the altar. I also like that we got to sneak in, like, 2 fully grown dudes to help.
Yeah.
Like, what was preventing the men of the village from just hanging out? Alright. A Foo Dog and Master Kong. Now the name makes sense, doesn't it?
Alright, there you go. He owns all these dogs, they're his.
That was over half of Borya's health.
Alright, let's just open up this box here to get this lady. Oh no, 3 people! I'm gonna kill this old guy.
Maybe that wasn't over half. Although I am playing risky to kill these Foo Dogs in 2 turns. At level... Whenever it's at level 4, you're at the point where Concentrated Fire can take out a Foo Dog.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to do that. Because they're like low health, high attack.
Don't want them here.
Also, I'm going to be using Crack to attack Master Kung. We'll see it here in a second. He resists ice.
Of course.
But you may remember, the way resistance works in Dragon Quest is it gives you a percentage chance. It's always out of 5, so it's either 0, 20, 40, 60, 80, or 100% chance to just not take damage.
Mm-hmm.
But when it hits, it still does a bunch of damage.
Yeah. So now he's annoying.
You're just going to be you're going to be gambling. You're going to be gambling on this.
Well, he got a crit, so clearly
That reminds me.
you're at least a little bit lucky.
Yes, Elena actually has a different formula for getting a crit. For everybody else, it is 1 out of 64. Let me get the specific formula for Elena. And I will say it after this, after the level ups. Decent level up for Elena.
Yeah, it just seems to be her usual thing. Good
Yeah.
strength, good agility, okay, everything else.
Still no spells for Kira. He's rock and heal and that's it. Sap. Sap is an important spell because it lowers defense.
Oh, nice.
If you had the patience to get to level 5 before this, having Borya use Sap is far more useful than having him use Crack. Having him cast Crack, rather.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, back to critical hits. Elena's critical hit in the DS version is 3/4 of her level divided by 256.
I assume that makes it easier.
Not at first, but it will eventually.
Well, yeah.
In the original game, it was just her level divided by 256, and at level 64, it would cap at a rate of 25%.
Mm-hmm.
1 out of every 4 hits would be a crit. You could get an item that lets you attack twice in a turn.
Oh, nice.
There's no reason to get to level 64, but the idea is tempting.
Mm-hmm.
In the DS version, they did not raise that cap, but they lowered it so that her critical hit chance, I think, caps out at 18%.
Boo. It's still good, but boo.
Yeah, still, everybody else is 1 out of 64. What even is that as a percentage?
I'm terrible at percentile math.
That's 1.5% chance.
Okay.
Anyways, with all of the money we got from that fight, upgrading our equipment. And yeah, everybody's like, Borya's just like, oh, I'm an old man and I'm tired. Kirilla's like, oh, I hope this doesn't go to Elena's head. Like, children died here.
Yeah, several children are still dead. All's well that ends well,
right? There is one teenage girl left in the village. She was the last one.
She is going to be angry and bitter about this for the rest of her life. All of her peers are fucking dead.
Like, even if you want to do this, like, have one grave. Like, we tried this once, and it didn't work. Like, if you, for whatever reason, you want there to be quote-unquote stakes, so you need there to be an actual death, you can do it that way, but... Why have, like, every fucking girl under the age of 18 in this town be dead? It's so weird.
All these kids are fucking dead. Dragon Quest IV.
It's just... It really does just give show a common writer where, like, fucked up things will happen, but they don't acknowledge it, so what was the point?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we didn't explore this, it's just a thing. You gave us a thesis and did nothing with it.
And yeah, Elena's like, oh, I remember this place, this is when I beat the shit out of those guys.
At least somebody's having fun, I guess. Will say though, a lot of good party chat. They have something to say about everything.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of party chat in this game. But we've been given our next destination for the Tower of Raynor. That's another thing about old school Dragon Quest. There is a lot of just go to the only place on the map that you can reach. We know we're going to Endor for the tournament, but for now, just go where you can.